Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of Man once again, and today we're going to be doing another manga review. Today we're going to be looking at Dr.Stone, and we're going to be reviewing the whole series. I have been doing reviews for it based on each saga, and so today is the culmination of all of those reviews where I talk about all of the series completely holistically, right? So Dr. Stone is written by Richiro Inagaki, who does the storyline aspect, and it's drawn by Boichi, who does the artistic kind of side of things, like the drawing of the characters. And you can definitely tell it's Boichi's art style. However, it is slightly different from his usual like adult art style that he uses in things like Wallman, Sunken Rock, and Origin. This is more of a little bit rounder, a little bit more young looking, and it's not as photorealistic as his usual style. And so it's kind of an interesting contrast between, you know, how Boichi does his work for other things, but it is similar to the way he handles some of the things he does for One Piece. So there you go. Although some of the other things he does for One Piece, like the Ace novel manga version, are definitely much more similar to his Sunken Rock style. So I don't know how he decides which style he's going to use, but it's definitely Boichi's art style in the series for sure. The demographic is shonen. It's on the Shonen Jump magazine, and I read it on the Viz Shonen Jump app. And the genres here are science fiction, although it's not really the normal type of science fiction that you think of, you know, military or aliens. It's more along the lines of like it uses science in a fictitious way in order to move the plot line along. Sorry, mixed up a bunch of words there together. So yeah, it also has post-apocalyptic kind of vibes to it, and of course it is an adventure series as well. So there you go, that's it for that. In terms of adaptations, it does have an anime, and it also has a spin-off called Byakuya Reboot, I think it's what it's called. And there might be a new Ryusui storyline coming to the anime at some point. So that's pretty interesting. Other than that, the premise of the story is basically that the world has literally turned to stone, and along that, humanity has reverted to Stone Age type, abilities in terms of like society and civilization and stuff. But that changes when our main character Senku manages to break away from the stone encasing him. So he manages to use all of his scientific knowledge from before the stone apocalypse in order to try to reignite civilization. And we get to see him interact with some of his friends that he revived, with a new character that he revived, and then with some people that are left over that somehow managed to escape the stone turning ray that kind of caused the apocalypse. And so along the way, after he meets these people, he kind of pushes scientific advancement at an increasing rate, and eventually he goes up into space to try to figure out the reasoning behind this apocalypse. And that's basically the major broad strokes of the story, but it is so interesting and so cool, and there's a very fun dynamic to be had here, and I really recommend you read it. So the plotline is it's not that hard, but it's not that simple either. Like I said, it's this guy Senku who wants to revive everyone, or you know, turn them back into humans from the stone casing that they're in. And in order to do that, he needs manpower, and he needs to use science in order to achieve that. And so he starts by first finding out how to revert the stone process that everyone underwent, and then he starts building up a small but close-knit community that is going to help him do this. He also meets these human remnants that have been around, and then eventually the story transitions from not only just trying to revive people, but also having this ideological fight with one of the people that he first revived, and then also into this battle for survival against an enemy that they don't know how to fight, because all they do is send radio waves and then turn people to stone. So it's a very interesting story. I find it awesome. These stories split up into sagas, and each saga kind of has a major component to it. So like the first saga is, the Stone World saga, where basically the point of it is to awaken people. The next saga is a battle between the two ideologies where, then they merge. And then there's another, few other sagas that all culminate into the development of a rocket. And it's very, very cool. I really enjoy it. I'm not really giving you any of the proper plot points beyond, very broad strokes, because it's just awesome, and it's a very good story, and definitely recommend you guys all check it out. It's really, really great. I like it a lot. It's very similar in some ways to Minecraft. It feels like Tech, if you guys have ever played that version of Minecraft. It has that kind of same vibe to it, where it's like there's these achievement boards that they have to go through in order to manage to create the things that Senku wants. And he, makes these achievement boards in order to simplify it down for everyone else, because he's like this crazy super scientist guy, and everyone else is kind of relatively normal. And it's a lot of fun. It's really enjoyable. The plotline is great. You could say that the ending was a little bit weak. However, I don't really find it to be that bad. I mean, it was a little faster than I really wanted it to be, but I don't think it's actually horrible as an ending. I think it was satisfying enough. It cleared up and tied up all of the little questions we had along the way. So I think it was good at the end, but it was a little fast for my taste. And beyond that, I don't really have too much more to say about the plot line. The characters are pretty great. I like them a lot. Boichi's art style really helps make these characters pop. There's Senku, Taiju, and I can't remember Taiju's girlfriend's name. Kizuru or something like that. I can't remember her name, but those three are the main characters. Or Senku is the main character. Taiju and his girlfriend are the secondary characters that are first introduced. Then we revive Tsukasa, who is Senku's partner, but also idealistic rival, and he becomes one of the major antagonists for the first third of the series. Then we meet the Ishigami village people, which are Kohaku, Ruri, Chrome, hilarious character, Kaseki, a bunch of other characters. And they really become the bulk ensemble cast of the story. And then we get introduced to a lot more characters along the way, and I really don't want to spoil any more than I already have. So I'm going to keep it that, down to these first few main characters. And I like it a lot. I think it's really wonderful. I really like the characters because, I don't know. It's just really fun. I really enjoy all of the characters. Senku is the, scientific mastermind. Taiju is a man with unending endurance and stamina. His girlfriend is the one that makes sure that she has all of the kind of arts and crafts types of skills that are really important to them early on. Tsukasa is just a powerful man. And, Kohaku is also a powerful woman. Chrome is a, Stone Age scientist, basically. And Kaseki is a laborer, a person with a lot of fine skills and a lot of abilities. And he becomes a very important character as well. Ruri is, she's not really that big of a character, but she's one of the leaders of their village. And so she has an important part to play early on in the story. And there's just so many more awesome characters that come along later and really are just really, really fun. I think I forgot Gen as well. He's this mystic character, and he's a really fun addition to the cast, and I really like them all. I think Inagaki really did a great job with all of these characters that he developed, and Boichi did a really good job making them come alive on the pages, and I really like the characterization. I really enjoy the ideological differences that so many characters have, and the way everyone just reacts to Senku's insane scientific, mad scientist vibes, and it's just so fun. Really, really enjoy all of the characters here in Dr. Stone. In terms of world building, I would say it's pretty light. I mean, there really isn't much world building to do, except for when the Ishigami village is introduced. and then near the end when we find out what the Y man is, right? So I don't really have too much to say about those, but because they would be kind of big spoilers, but I think that the world building is great. The little that there is very good. It makes it sensical. It makes sure that everything kind of makes sense, and I quite like that a lot. There's also this idea that kind of the technobabble is a part of the world building, and I think that that is kind of true. And Inagaki and Boichi had a scientist on board with their manga that helped them make sure that everything they were saying was at least accurate enough to reality. And when they explain the scientific principles and stuff like that, there's diagrams, there's a lot of interesting things that help you understand the scientific principles that they're trying to use in order to solve a problem. And I like that a lot. I think it works really, really great. And it wouldn't really count as world building because it's like facts most people would be able to just Google online. It really isn't about the Dr. Stone world specifically, but it is explained and expositioned in a way that is similar to world building, and so that's why I would classify it here as well. And I think they do a really good job with it throughout the whole series, so I like that a lot. Other than that, in terms of artwork, it's great. Boichi really excels at making his characters really, really good. He has a great understanding of anatomy, and the way he makes all of his characters look is great. His aesthetic, Stone Age kind of vibes to his work are really, really good in this manga. I think he does a really great job with making those kind of furrikinis and stuff like that for the characters. And the art style is great. There's of course some fan service because it's not Boichi's artwork without some fan service in it. However, it wouldn't really be as egregious as other fan service in other of a series. If you've ever read Origin or Sunken Rock or Wallman, there's just fan service galore, and sometimes it's just why are you even doing this right now? But I think that he keeps it pretty simplistic and not too hardcore in Dr. Stone, but there is still fan service there. So if you don't like that, maybe don't check out the series. But honestly, I'm pretty sure that every manga has fan service. So if you don't like fan service, you maybe shouldn't read manga at all. But I don't know. That's just kind of a personal opinion. It really depends on how much you consider something fan service, or what threshold there is before it's too much for you and stuff like that. So that's up to everyone individually. Other than that, the rating of this story is basically a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed the story, and for me, that's the most important part. Is there some weaknesses in the writing sometimes? Yeah, sure. There's a little bit of contrivances here and there that really you feel like things should have taken longer, or that the ending maybe could have been done a slightly different way, or that things were kind of slowing down at one point, and then they introduced something to push everything back up. And there's a little bit of issues with the writing, but in general, I don't really find them big enough to detract from the story. And the fact that I just love Dr. Stone a lot, I really made me enjoy the story. I love the characters. The world building was interesting. The kind of premise of just using this Minecraft achievement system to develop this idea that you can use science to save the world is great. I really enjoy that. It has a very kind of cool message there. I really like that. I'm someone that really enjoys when manga or stories I read go into somewhat scientific realms, which is why I like sci-fi a lot. And I think that Dr. Stone really managed to make that work without getting bogged down in the scientificness of it like hard sci-fi might do. And so I like that a lot. I think, they did a great job with this. So since I don't have any major complaints or anything that really detracted from the story for me, it's a 5 out of 5 for sure. I have no problems giving it that score. And this would basically be the second Boichi work that I give a 5 out of 5 to. And I'm quite happy with that. However, most of a lot of the work is really, or a lot of the credit is really for the author, not necessarily Boichi, but I think that Boichi's art style really enhanced my experience while reading this book, this manga. So I would definitely say that, maybe he's not as important as Inagaki, but he is quite important there. So yeah, other than that, I don't really have too much to say. I definitely recommend this title if you like Boichi's artwork, or if you're interested in kind of an apocalyptic series that isn't really grim and kind of just like sad and, you know, ultra violent like so many like zombie apocalypse type stories are, or, you know, isn't really dystopian either like a lot of YA sci-fi would be. So I definitely recommend this title if you're looking for something post-apocalyptic that is slightly less sad, and if you're looking for something that really tries to make science kind of a big plot point of it. So yeah, in terms of similar titles, I don't really think that there's anything similar specifically in Shonen Jump, but of course other Boichi art works would be similar in the sense that the art style is going to be very reminiscent of itself. And other than that, I really don't know if there's anything quite like Dr. Stone that I can think of, you know, in any capacity. Like, you could argue that to an extent, something like The 100, you know, the CW TV show, would be kind of similar, but I would not really make that, you know, comparison very much, because The 100 is just so grim. It's not fun. Like, it's very dramatic too. Like, I don't know, it doesn't really have the same kind of like upbeat, like we can fix everything kind of feel that Dr. Stone has. So I wouldn't really say that that's similar, but I guess kind of it is. I don't know. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything else to say. I love Dr. Stone. It's a great series. I definitely recommend you guys read it. And other than that, you know, all I have left to say is thank you guys very much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you thought. And thank you guys very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, see you guys later.